The dictionary defines a neighbour as a person living next door to, or very near to, the speaker or person referred to. If you take this definition at face value, then having a neighbour is something that the vast majority of people on this planet can relate to. A good neighbour is generally considered someone who is friendly, unintruding, respectful, helpful, trustworthy and tidy. A bad neighbour can be best described as being the opposite of all of these things. Unfriendly, intruding, disrespectful, unhelpful, untrustworthy and untidy. Ned Flanders Jr. was born in New York before moving to Springfield and now lives at 744 Evergreen Terrace. The next door neighbour of the Simpson family, Flanders is a devout Christian and was a self-employed businessman running the town's leftorium before becoming a teacher at Springfield Elementary School. He has 2 sons and has been married 3 times, with 1 annulment and 2 of his wives passing away. We know that Ned lived on Evergreen Terrace before The Simpsons, and in the timeline of the Simpsons universe they have been neighbours for 8 years. So Flanders is, on first appearance, pretty much the living definition of a perfect neighbour. So anybody living next door to a neighbour like this must probably count themselves very lucky. Well, not exactly. From their first meeting, it's clear that while Flanders may display all the characteristics of a good neighbour, his extremely friendly manner irritates Homer, who immediately takes advantage of Ned's generous nature, the first of many times this will happen. This scene is part of a flashback in the season 4 episode, Lisa's First Word. And by this stage of the show, the dynamics of Homer and Ned's relationship were clear, with Flanders' over-friendly manner usually being met with blunt rudeness from Homer, which becomes less subtle as the seasons pass.
I said shut your ugly face, Flanders!
Oh, fair enough.
In earlier seasons of the show, another cause of Homer's dislike for Ned was jealousy, due to the Flanders family being financially better off than the Simpsons. This particular dynamic of the Homer and Ned relationship would gradually disappear through the show's run, but in early years it was quite prevalent. Right from Ned's first appearance on the show, it's made clear that the Flanders are the supposed example of the traditional perfect family, living next to the dysfunctional Simpsons. This continues in the season 2 episode, Dead Pudding Society, where Homer points out to Ned,
"Your family is better than my family. Your beer comes from farther away than my beer. You and your son like each other. Your wife's butt is higher than my wife's butt. You make me sick."
In the season 3 episode, When Flanders Failed, Homer's contempt for Flanders again surfaces when Ned invites the Simpsons to his barbecue.
Well, we can't hold it against them just because he has things a little better than we do.
Excuse me? Better?
The plot of this episode sees Flanders quit his secure job in the pharmaceuticals industry to open the leftorium, with Homer, after initially wishing failure on the business, eventually saving Flanders from bankruptcy by driving up business for the store among the left-handed citizens of Springfield. From this episode on, with Flanders running the leftorium, the dynamic of Homer being jealous of Flanders' financial comfort seems to disappear, with Homer now simply finding Flanders' goody-two-shoes ways irritating. The differences between the Simpson and Flanders families are highlighted in the episode Home Sweet Home Diddley, when Bart, Lisa and Maggie are taken by child protection and placed in the care of the Flanders family. Life at the Flanders house proves unbearable for Bart and Lisa, where nachos are cucumber with cottage cheese and Saturday nights are spent playing Bible bombardment. Upon their return to Homer and Marge, the worst dirt they can give on Flanders is that he keeps his old paint cans. I think the character of Ned Flanders has probably had more dramatic changes in his story arc than any other character in the show. Off the top of my head, he's changed job, had a breakdown, committed bigamy, had his wife pass away, been remarried only to have another wife pass away, seen his business go bust, and then start a new career as a teacher. In the episode Hurricane Neddy, a hurricane rips through Springfield, managing to destroy only one house on its way, the Flanders house. The impact of seeing their home destroyed finally tips Ned over the edge, telling the people of Springfield exactly what he thinks of them. After he commits himself into a mental institution, his therapy requires him to release his suppressed rage, and they send for the one person most likely to irritate Ned to the point of outburst. You guessed it, his next door neighbour, Homer Simpson. The episode Viva Ned Flanders from a couple of years later is very much a Ned and Homer episode. After revealing that he's 60 years old, Ned is mocked by the people of Springfield for having led such a mundane life and seeks the help of his neighbour to teach him the secret of his carefree attitude. It leads to a trip to Vegas, and after Ned has a taste of his first white wine spritzer, they wake the next morning to find they've married the cocktail waitresses who served them the night before, and make a quick escape back to Springfield. The most dramatic change to Ned's character arc comes in the season 11 episode Alone Again Natura Diddley, with the death of his wife Maud. As with any Ned-centred episode, Homer plays a big part in the storyline. In fact, Homer's actually inadvertently responsible for Maud's death, when he ducks as t-shirts are fired from an air cannon, causing Maud to fall from the stands. This episode also sees a change in the dynamics of Homer and Ned's relationship, as Homer has to fight his natural instincts and be nice to Flanders. Considering what happened, I guess it's the least he can do. Homer makes an effort to help Ned move on with his life by setting him up for video dating and encourages him to talk to Rachel Jordan, a Christian rock singer who catches Ned's eye. The following season, Homer also helps Ned to build Praiseland, a Bible-themed amusement park built in Maud's honour. I suppose the relationship between Homer and Ned is probably best described as two people who are polar opposites, who don't really like each other, but when it comes to being neighbours, they need each other. In the episode Home Away from Homer, Ned decides to quit Springfield and moves with Rod and Todd to Humbleton, Pennsylvania, a town which, on first appearance, seems like the ideal home for the overly friendly and polite Ned. But when he finds that the locals judge him for having a moustache, he's more comfortable in a town like Springfield, where he can be the one who disapproves of the lifestyles of others. At the same time, Homer finds that his new next door neighbour is a bully and the stereotypical bad neighbour, and yearns for the return of the overly polite Flanders. I guess to Homer, he might always be stupid Flanders, but he's his stupid Flanders. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and see you all next time.